I actually went originally to New York Chiropractic College, and I transferred down to Life because I liked the program. I think what happened was, if I go back in the days when I first came down here, an African-American chiropractor, Dr. Omar, actually went to school with me in New York, and she came down to Life. And I came down and took a look at it, and I realized it was a better fit for me than where I was. So I decided to transfer down to Life, and it felt a lot more comfortable. One of the biggest situations is that when you're talking about trying to inform and educate Afro-Americans to go to school, to become chiropractic patients, one of the biggest situations is that the medical profession does just a great job on the African community and other communities or lower income communities about drugs. So under the circumstances, everybody's been programmed to a quick fix. So trying to get people to understand the difference of the two and why one is more important has become very, very difficult to do at times. So what ends up happening is that you don't necessarily get the patients in to keep them as long as you would want to. The knowledge and information about chiropractic is not something that was well known in the Black community, even though Harvey Lillard was one of the people who got the first chiropractic adjustment. That situation was one that I found to be extremely interesting. Just to give you an example, I'm from Washington, D.C., and when I thought about practicing in Washington, D.C., and going to sit for the bar examination, they didn't have a bar examination for chiropractors. And even today, the medical board is over the chiropractic board. The most important thing I found is that, and it's something that I don't see as often as I like, most professions you find the senior people in the profession people get in contact with. At this particular point, I think by doing the alumni dinners and things of that nature, the younger chiropractors get to see some of the older chiropractors in the field that have been there for ages, that have gone through the battles, have dealt with all the issues and survived, because it's important to realize that when you talk about that situation being available, it just makes it an easy situation for, if they acknowledge that particular part of the history of getting information. When I first came into chiropractic and other people were coming in as students, when I was a student, I would try to make sure they had as much information as possible about what they needed to do, what was important in terms of preparing for exams and everything else, okay? Even from the standpoint, if I have any material that would be relevant for them to use to help them through the journey, I would make sure they had it. And that was just something that I did because I thought it was really important. And therefore, a lot of times, there's a gap between the younger chiropractors and the older chiropractors because, as a general rule, young people think they know more than anybody else. So, sometimes that situation just kind of, gets kind of swept under the rug. But I think under the circumstances, it would be good to try to blend that network so that more information is out. Because like most people say, I've probably been through more than they have ever gone through yet. So in the circumstances, it just could be a very helpful vehicle for them to navigate.